Well, today we're going to be making a Colby-Jack cheese. In this pot there's going to be Colby, and then this pot we're going to make Monterey Jack. Now I'm not going to start the Monterey Jack until at least an hour after I start the Colby, because it doesn't take as long for the Monterey Jack as it does the Colby. So I'm going to add a gallon of milk to the Colby, and then I'm going to run this for about an hour, and then I'm going to start the Monterey Jack. Alright, I'm going to start heating this up. I'm going to put it on low. It has to get up to about 89 degrees. Once it does that, then I'm going to add the whey. I saved some whey from my last cheese, and I'm going to put that in for the mesophilic culture. As soon as it heats up and I start putting the whey in it, I'll come back. Alright. Now up to 89 degrees. Now this one here is the Colby, so I'm actually going to add the rennet to it. And once I get her mixed in, then I'm going to add the calcium chloride in it, because it's pasteurized. Okay. And calcium chloride. And it's an 1/8 teaspoon in an 1/8 a cup of non-chlorinated water. Now I'm going to add the culture, the mesophilic culture. Well, this is actually whey that came from my last cheese making of my pepper jack that I made. And this is 1.5 cups. And I'm going to let this sit for about 45 minutes. Now when we come back, I probably will have already started this batch of Monterey Jack. Okay. Now this has got to set for about 45 minutes to an hour. And like I said, when we come back, I probably will have already started this, because this has got to get started in about 30 minutes, and it's going to take about an hour for this to set. So like I said, when I come back, I'll already have one going. Alright, hey everybody. Alright, this one here is already ripened, so now I'm going to add the rennet to it. And this one here is the Monterey Jack. I actually started it just a little while ago. I didn't film it because I already have a film of how to make Monterey Jack. And if you want to see that, I'll put it in the upper right hand corner. Just click on the little white circle and it should take you to that video. Now I'm going to add the rennet to this one. This one here still has to ripen a little bit. So I'm going to add the rennet to the Colby here. Now I'm using 2 different spoons because you can't use the same spoon for both of them, because you will cross-contaminate them. So I'm going to add the rennet. And I'm going to stir this for, I don't know, about a minute, give or take. And then once I'm done stirring it, then I'll just let it sit for about an hour. You take the probe out of it here, I guess. Don't want that to get stuck in the congealed milk. Alright. I'm going to let this sit. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you take a rag or a towel. Alright, it's been an hour. So the Colby is ready to be cut into 1 centimeter cubes. The curds are. So we have to check to see if we have a clean break. So we are going to check right now if we have a clean break. And we do. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my cheese heart. And I'm going to cut them horizontally first. Okay. Now I have to rinse this, otherwise they dry, and they dry pretty quick. If I don't rinse it, they are a bugger to clean off there once they dry. Alright, now we cut them into cubes. Okay, and when I get done cutting them into cubes, we'll be back with the video. Alright, I've got the curds all cut. Now they have to rest for 10 minutes. And the reason why they have to rest is they actually have to heal up. Because when you cut them, you shock them. So they have to, each cube has to kind of like build a skin around it so all the whey doesn't leak out, because you want the whey to come out of the cube slowly, not all at once. So once all that's done and I let it sit, then we'll be back. Alright, we're back. Okay, we've let the curds heal for 10 minutes. So now what we need to do is we need to heat this up to 102 degrees over the next 30 minutes, which is right around 2 degrees every 5 minutes, give or take. And in the meantime, while this is heating up, I've also got to make sure that the Monterey Jack over here is going good. I already got the rennet in it, and it's thickening up right now. It's congealing. It's still got about 14 minutes left on it. So when this gets done, then I got to cut this up. And then the real work begins. Then I got to balance both of these out at the same time. I got to be doing different things to them. So real work begins. Alright, now this has to be slowly stirred. Yeah, them curds look pretty good. They're a nice uniform shape. Yeah. But you gotta do it nice and slowly, because you could damage the curd. You could basically what's called pop it. And then all your work would be for nothing. And then once we get that done, then I'll be back. Alright everybody, the mozzarella cheese, or mozzarella, listen to me. The Monterey Jack is ready to be tested to see if it's ready to be cut into cubes. So let's check it here. And it is. Okay, now I'm going to get my cheese heart. And I rinsed it off already, so it doesn't have any of the Colby on it. So now we cut. Okay, now I'm going to rinse it off again. Okay. Now done with the cheese heart. Alright, now I gotta cut it. Alright, so now we're gonna cut it vertically here into 1 centimeter cubes. Okay. And then when I am done doing that, then I will be back with you guys. Alright, I've got the curds all cut. So now we have to heat this up to 100 degrees over 30 minutes. And same with the Colby as this one. Do it nice and slowly. That way you don't pop the curd. And it did heal up. I let it sit for like 10 minutes to heal up. I didn't put it on video because I actually forgot about it. So once this is done heating up to 100 degrees, 100 degrees, then I gotta let it sit for another 30 minutes at that temperature, stirring it to make sure nothing mats on the bottom. After that's done, then I will be back with you guys. Alright, everybody. The Colby-Jack is done. And this is what it looks like. Small curds. Now I've got to let it sit for about 10 minutes, let everything settle to the bottom, so I've got to mat together because I have to pull the whey off of it up to the level of the curds, because then I have to put fresh cold water in it and I have to wash the curds, bring them back down to right around 80-81 degrees. I don't want it any lower than that because I don't want a soft Colby cheese, because I'm going to mix it with the Monterey. I want it a little bit hard. The Monterey Jack here still has about 25 minutes yet of it being heated up, and I have to stir it frequently to keep them from matting. And then once all that is done, I will be back. Alright, we've all matted the bottom of the pot. Now I got to drain off the whey up to the level of the curds. You gotta do this slowly, because if you disturb the curds, you could get them in your whey that you're dumping out. I'm not going to save this whey, mainly because I actually used whey as a culture. Now if I would have used the mesophilic packets, then I would save the whey. I'm going to say that's about good right there. And like I said, seeing how I'm not going to save this whey, I'm just going to dump it right down the sink. Okay, now I'm going to add cold water to this until it gets to a temperature of about 82 degrees. And right now, it's at 97. So I'm just going to slowly add cold water to it. Stir it around. So 89, 88, 85, 84, 83, 81. Okay. That's as cold as I want it. Now, if it drops any, now see, right now it's at 80 degrees. I actually got some hot water here that I'm just going to put a little bit in it while I'm stirring. Just to heat it up a little bit. Because I want it about 81 degrees. And there it is. It's at 81 degrees. Now I have to maintain this temperature for the next 15 minutes. Okay. And I have to stir it like every 5 minutes to keep it from matting on the bottom. And in the meantime, I still got to stir the Monterey Jack here. And once I get all done with this, I will be back with you guys. Alright, the Monterey Jack is ready. So now I have to drain this way off, up to the level of the curd. And then once I do that, then I gotta let it rest for a little while. I'm not sure how long. I have to look at the recipe. The Colby's almost done, and so is the Monterey Jack here. Okay. Alright. Since I'm not going to keep this way, I'm just going to dump this down the sink. The only reason why I'm not keeping it is because I used the whey from the last batch in this batch, so I can't keep this way to use the culture in another one because there's not enough culture in it. Okay. Now I have to let this sit for another 30 minutes. So I am going to set the timer here. Start. Alright, as soon as all that's done, and this here's still got about 2 minutes left to sit here and soak in this cold water. So as soon as all this is done, I will be back with you guys. Alright, it's done. Now I gotta drain this into a colander. I'm actually going to keep this whey because I want the whey to keep the curds warm while it's resting. Because this has to rest for another 15 minutes. Alright, now I got to get some gloves on here, or at least one glove, because I got to scrape the pan out here. Now this has to drain for 15 minutes. So I'm going to stick it back over here on the stove. This is the way. I'm actually going to add a little bit of weight to the bottom of this. That way it stays warm in there. That way it will keep the curds warm. And then once that's done, I'm actually going to cover this up so nothing gets into it. I use my lid here to cover it up. And then this here has about 25 minutes left to sit here and soak in this water. I don't know why the recipe calls for it, but it does. So as soon as this is done doing that, then I will be back with you guys. Okay, it has been 15 minutes and these have all knitted together nice and neatly. So now we are going to put them in here so I can break them up into about walnut sized pieces so I can salt them before they go in the press. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. Nice and clear whey coming out of it, which is a good sign. Okay. I'm going to put that back in there because I'm actually going to use this again to drain the Monterey Jack. Because the Monterey Jack is done too. So, I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to drain it just like this. And I'm not worried about cross-contamination at this point because here in a few minutes they're actually going to be mixed together. Now we just let it sit there and drain while I break these up into pieces so I can salt it. That's a nice orange, yellow/orange cheese. Okay. is, I believe, 1 tablespoon. Yes, 1 tablespoon. Okay. Normally calls for 2 tablespoons, but the other tablespoon is actually going to go inside the Monterey Jack. Ah, I can't get this open with these gloves on. There we go. Okay. Sprinkler on here. Get the mixer in. Okay. Alright, let that sit there. And get these ones drained. Squeezed out. And that's nice clear way too. Nice clear way on that one too. Okay, as soon as I get all this stuff done and salted and get ready to put it in the press, I'll get back with you guys because I still got to move the camera, set up the press. So I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, we got her done. And we just sit here and start putting her in. Gotta kind of like mix it up a little bit here. Alright, now for the very last, I'm just going to do this number. Get it right in there. Get her in. Alright, there. She put it in there. Alright. Make sure the cheesecloth is nice and tight in there. I mean, as far as like right now, it really don't have to be, but that second pressing, it does, because it will put wrinkles in it. Okay. Let me put the follower in it. Get her in the press here. Put a block of wood on top of it. Get it centered. Centered in there. Okay. And then we bring our arm down. Okay. We unlock it. Then I am going to put 22 pounds on it, which is this one, for about 20 minutes. Alright. Better get something to catch the way, otherwise I'm going to have a mess all over the place. As it is right now, I got some to clean up. But, alright, after 20 minutes, I'll be back. Okay, 15 minutes has passed. And I want to apologize on that first pressing. It wasn't 22 pounds. It was 11, so I had to take that 22 pound weight off and put an 11 pound on. Now this next pressing is going to be 22 pounds. So we're going to pull the 11 pound off. I'm going to lock it up here. Pull the block. And we have to tip it over and dump out all the way because it settles on top of the follower for some reason. Okay. Dump out all the way out of the pan here. Alright. Now we gotta gently. Oh yeah. That is looking beautiful. Alright, now we have to be careful when we flip it over because it's still fragile. Oh yeah. You betcha. She's looking good. A little solid on this side, but it looks a little solid white, but it's alright. Alright, we'll pick her up here. We'll put her back in the mold. Okay. And we gotta make sure that the bottom, that the cheesecloth on the bottom is nice and tight, because if not, it will make wrinkles in there. Alright, now we flip it over, put the follower back in, put it back on the press, put the block back in it. Okay. Have to make sure she's centered. Okay. Now we close her down. Now we're going to put the 22 pound weight on it. Okay. There. Now this one is going to be for 20 or 25 minutes. I will be back when it's time to flip it over. Alright, it's been 20 minutes. Alright, now this time it's going to be 33 pounds for 12 hours. Alright, I'm going to take the weight off of it. And we'll lock it up. Take the block out. I'm going to dump the excess weight off of it here. Okay. Look at that. It's not centered quite right. So I'm going to have to center it some more. So there. cheesecloth is tight under the mold. Okay, and then we're going to drape it over. Okay, we're going to put the follower back on it. Okay, now this time we're going to press it for 12 hours. Make sure it's centered. Okay. Alright. Unlock the arm. And then we're going to find, where's the 33 pounder? There it is. 33 pounds, yep. Put the 33 pounder on it here. Alright. Oh, it's not centered properly. Alright, now it is. Alright, now we let it sit here for 12 hours. Tuck all this up in here so it's not laying in the way. And then after 12 hours, I will be back. Hey everybody, well, it's been 12 hours. So now I'm going to take it out of the press. Okay, I'm going to take my weight off of it. Alright. And lock it up. Lock out. Okay. I don't think there's any way on top of it. Alright. Now we'll see what she looks like here. Man, that looks really good. Now I'm going to... Sorry about that. The battery in the camera died. So, alright. I'm going to wash it with a salt brine. And then after I get done with that, then I'm going to let it air dry for about 1 to 4 or 5 days. And then after that, I'll vacuum seal it, and in the cheese cave it's going to go. Now, at the end of a lot of my videos, I put a picture of my cheese cave on there. But if any of you would like to see how I built that, just leave a comment below, and I will make a separate video on how I built that, including the charge controller I used, what wiring, how I wired it, all the good stuff. So just leave a comment below, and I will make a separate video. Alright, I am going to brine this with some salt here. Okay. Alright. Now I'm going to let her air dry. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys.